Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Joseph Lopez, and I will be speaking on the board today. Some of the biggest points on education, physical education, coaching, anything that really has to do with physicals, it's all pretty much relative. One of the biggest things that I kind of look into comes from one of these books I read it in chapter 15, aggression and being able to channel it into the right things. So a lot of people think, he's a very aggressive person, and, whatever sport he's playing it's good for him because that's where he can, exert his aggression, and then he doesn't have it anymore. That's good. However, when it comes down to later on in life and, that sport or activity isn't around anymore, how are they going to handle their aggression? And you can see it in a lot of NFL players and people who play physical sports that channel their aggression in the sport that you see when they're out in the real world. A lot of times they get arrested for battery charge, domestic abuse, lots of really, aggressive charges. We have to find ways as teachers and leaders to get people to exert energy or aggression into other things as well. Whether it's in football, maybe finding ways for them to work out after the sport is done. After the sport is done, maybe doing some kind of running or anything that has physical movement involved. One of the biggest things people can do is going, not necessarily saying owning guns, but you could go somewhere to, shoot or practice bow and arrows to, put your aggression there instead of out into the world and not knowing how to manage it. We also have to train our athletes to also be able to defeat their aggression, not just try to channel it in a way. The next point is leadership. So leadership is always big. Leadership is one way to get people to follow you. If you're a good leader, people will follow you without you having to say anything. That's by leading by example, or by, a lot of times you don't see great leaders telling people what to do. The people around them just kind of do it. That's because they've seen their leader doing things. Transformational leadership is another way, another big important key. It's when the leader cares and tries to create a relationship with their followers. I'm going to use an example here, may not be the best. Cult leaders. When you talk to cult leaders, they're people that have a lot of charisma and get a lot of people to follow them. But the way they get people to follow them is very, very strategic. They make people feel like they're their friend. Everybody is their friend. He knows everybody by name, and that's when you have personal relationships, people have this idea that they don't want to let you down. So they have idealized influence. They try to be role models of people's lives, very inspirational. They always find new creative ways. We have to find new creative ways to keep our athletes interested and wanting to follow us. And then, like I was talking earlier, the individualized consideration. Everybody has a name. Nobody's a number in the group. So that's another key we'll always have to have as teachers and coaches, to be able to have our students trust us in our process for us to teach them and bring them to where they need to be, maximum potential. Finally, coming to my third point, one of the bigger ones. Now you can pick up or take whatever I'm saying here, or you can find other ways as you get out into the field, but cultural competence. This is understanding the differences in different cultures, the challenges people face, stereotype threat is pretty big. It's when individuals are afraid of conforming to stereotypes. So we have to find ways to either block the stereotype or make our athletes or students aware of it, to where they know that they trust themselves enough to be capable to avoid those stereotypes. A lot of it is good leadership. That's you need people to be able to trust in what you say. We also have to be willing to change and adjust to what everybody else's needs, so that they don't feel like they're falling into a stereotype. They still feel like they're their own person within their own diversities. But being culturally competent is very important. We have to know the differences so we can adjust our teaching styles and ways of inspiring or influencing people. We got to know the way they think. Everybody thinks differently, and cultures are, everybody in the same culture kind of has a different way of thinking. Like, in Latino and Latina Hispanic cultures, people are always late. I know this being from Miami. There's a lot of Latinos and Latinas, and we normally schedule things an hour early because we always know they're going to come an hour late. That's finding ways to be culturally competent and adjusting to it. And then we have to know the difference. Everybody's different, and when you understand everyone's difference, people want to work with you because they know that you're sensitive to that. Concluding my presentation here, just one last piece of advice is just always be willing to learn, always be willing to change and adjust your ways. You're not, you are in charge and you are the head, but don't be a tyrant. Lead by example, adjust, and when people see you adjusting to them, they will adjust to you. Thank you very much for your time. Have a good day.